You start by visiting the most emblematic of the city, the famous Leaning Tower, included in the list of the new 7 Wonders of the World. The tower is the bell tower of the Cathedral of St. Mary of the Assumption, Duomo. The Leaning Tower is famous for the experiments of Galileo Galilei. Galileo had dropped 2 balls of different weights from the tower to prove that the time of their descent does not depend on their mass, disproving Aristotle's theory of gravity. Next to the tower, you can see the Cathedral of St. Mary of the Assumption. Its medieval Romantic Pisan style is impressive. The city of Pisa was one of the most important ports in Italy during the construction of the cathedral in 1063, so elements of distinctive styles can be found in it: classical, Lombard Romanesque, Byzantine, Islamic, and others. This style later became famous by coining the Pisan Romanesque style. At the same time, the rival city of Venice began the construction of the Basilica of San Marco, so the Cathedral of Pisa had to compete and surpass it in its beauty and magnificence. The church was erected in the area outside of the city wall, symbolizing the power of Pisa and that it did not need protection. The cathedral also preserves the relics of Saint Reinerius, the patron saint of Pisa and travelers like you. In front of the church, you look at the Pisa Baptistery of St. John, Battiserio di San Giovanni, the largest in Italy. The baptistery is one of the significant examples of typical Pisa architecture with a mixture of Romanesque and Gothic styles. One of the main peculiarities is the attempt to imitate the mosques and basilics of Jerusalem at the same time. The last great monument of the Miracle Square is the Camposanto, the place you really want to visit, especially for its murals. The ground upon which the monumental Camposanto cemetery was built was first covered with the sacred earth of Golgotha. According to one version, the Camposanto was established in 1203 after the Fourth Crusade, a European expedition to Jerusalem when Pisan ships brought back the holy soil. This version is considered only a legend, and in reality, the Camposanto was founded as a place to collect sarcophagi and different tombs near the area of the cathedral. During World War II, the cemetery was seriously damaged by a bomb, and many frescoes and sculptures were damaged. It has 2 chapels, the Dal Pozzo Chapel, which contained the relics of some apostles, the fragments of the True Cross, and the dress of the Virgin Mary, as well as the torn from Christ's crown of thorns. The Aula Chapel is famous for the lamp that hung from the ceiling, previously inside the cathedral, as it was what inspired Galileo Galilei to formulate his isochron theory while he observed the oscillation of the lamp. The last attraction you visit on the square is the Opera del Duomo Museum, whose building was originally a 13th century palace. In 1986, it was inaugurated as a museum to collect the main treasures of the Cathedral of Pisa. The museum has more than 20 rooms dedicated to diverse types of art, from the Egyptian and Etruscan periods to modern times. A separate room is dedicated to only the original baptistery statues, and another room is for other type of baptistery reminiscence. Now you go to the Church of Santa Catarina. To get there, you cross a beautiful park and some alley. The Church of Santa Catarina de Alessandria was rebuilt several times. The most significant work taking place in the 18th century and after the Second World War, when Pisa was bombed. Inside the Church of Santa Catarina, along the nave, you can admire the statues and canvases from the 17th century. There is nothing very spectacular about the place, so you head to a more iconic church in the center of the town. The Church of San Michael de Borgo is a church built together with a monastery in the 11th century. It is located around the city, inhabited since the time of the Etruscans and the Romans. The city is full of churches and its history is written in them, in their architecture and in the reasons for their construction. The Church of San Frediano is a university church located today in the homonymous square. For a long time, the church and the nearest shelter for the poor and pilgrims were an important urban and suburban crossroads connecting the streets coming from the Arno River with the main political center of the city, the Knights Square, Piazza del Cavalieri. The square is located in the area where the old Roman Forum used to be, and its old name was 7 Street Squares, since 7 streets converged there. Today only 5 streets remain. Somewhat tired of churches and history, you enter to the Botanical Garden of Pisa, the first university botanical garden in the world. The garden is home of plants from all 5 continents, succulent plants from African and American deserts, aromatical plants from the thick forests of the Mediterranean, spices from the Tuscan swamps, trees, and many other plants. Although you explore the garden museum, more than anything you spend the hours recovering energy. Nature always makes you feel better, more relaxed and stronger. Already with more energy, you explore the Church of San Nicola and its bell tower, that is the second symbol of Pisa after the Leaning Tower. The church had a hidden tunnel that was connected to the Torre dei Cantoni and later to the Palazzo della Vedove, so that the women of the Medici family could reach Mass without walking through the streets. The last church you visit is that of Santa Maria della Spina, a masterpiece of Italian Gothic architecture and an extraordinary example of particularly Pisan Gothic. Its name comes from spina, a thorn in Italian, and refers to the thorn of the crown of Christ on the cross. The temple, previously built in 1230 by the Gualandi family, originally was named Santa Maria del Ponte Nuovo. Those are the places you know now in Pisa, but beyond the tourist attractions, you like to experience the city. For this reason, you go out for a walk through the streets away from the tourists, until nightfall comes and you prepare for Rome.